But the big story, of course, is while we have two hot wars for the president to navigate on the world stage, the Republican-controlled House has voted to formally authorize its impeachment inquiry into President Biden, despite failing to provide any evidence of wrongdoing by the president. The vote was strictly along party lines yesterday, with all 221 Republicans voting yes, all 212 Democrats voting no. Republicans say the move will grant them the ability to better enforce their subpoenas in the courts. House Oversight Chair Republican James Comer has accused Hunter Biden and other Biden family members of engaging in, quote, shady business practices, but, as we said, has yet to reveal any evidence of wrongdoing or influence peddling by the president himself. So here is what several House Democrats said ahead of the vote.
The Biden impeachment investigation isn't a whodunit. It's a what is it? It's like an Agatha Christie novel where the mystery is what's the crime?
I think if we give him enough time, he's going to prove that Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son.
We're here today not because of any wrongdoing by President Biden, but because Donald Trump wants revenge.
So the Republicans leading the impeachment inquiry insisted they are driven by efforts to uphold the Constitution. But this week, some have let it slip that their true intentions are politically motivated. Take a listen.
What are you hoping to gain from an impeachment inquiry?
All I can see is Donald J. Trump 2024, baby.
Can you identify any actual policy decisions that Joe Biden has made in response to getting paid for those policy changes?
Well, we'll have to, that'll be part of the investigation.
Facts haven't taken me to that point where I can say that the president's guilty of anything.
President Biden, he must be really frustrated. He's dragging Trump through the courts, and Trump is rising and surging in the polls.
There's, this other issue of whether Joe Biden was involved in his son's business dealing that I think the American people are looking at as well. So I think all that together is why you see the numbers where they're at.
This has been, I think, the most transparent political congressional investigation since I've been in Congress.
Yeah, it is the most political, Willie, the most political since he's been in Congress. I had asked
You
Alex
did, and he did not deliver.
to give us a clip of Green Acres, Arnold the pig, to attach at the end, but he refused to do it, Willie.
That's just bad producing. We love Alex, but you got to get the Green Acres. You got to get the Green Acres clip in there. Yeah, I mean, they say the quiet part out loud. They've been doing that for a long time. When the one congressman from Texas walks by and says, "All I can say is Trump 2024, baby," well, there it is, right? That's the whole point of this exercise, to somehow to dent in some way Joe Biden, even though they've shown no evidence of it. It also, as Democrats in the conversation leading up to the vote yesterday pointed out, to put this side by side with what Donald Trump did, what he was impeached for, and what those Republicans have ignored or defended, they've sort of lost the high ground when they're trying to talk about impeachment and defending the Constitution. But, Allie, we did get the vote, party line vote. The inquiry will go forward. So what happens next? Where does this go?
They continue investigating. I mean, the other quiet part out loud about all of this, and as you guys usually do, you pull the exact clips that I think are the most important about this debate, specifically Troy Nehls coming forward and just saying Trump 2024, because House Republicans have consistently used their majority and their ability to wield the gavel from the very moment that they eventually chose a speaker back in January to play sort of counterpuncher and chief defender of former President Trump at each turn, whether it's Alvin Bragg in Manhattan, whether it's Letitia James, all of these various investigations into Trump. House Republicans, through judiciary or oversight or whatever committee, have always sought to sort of back up Trump and try to muddy the waters. So this is yet another instance of that. In terms of where it goes next, these investigations have been going on for the entirety of the year. The reason that I'm told from Republicans who are involved in this is that they want to move it forward to an impeachment inquiry so that they can officially say they're in the inquiry phase and have a little bit more juice behind the ability to enforce their subpoenas when inevitably it comes to defending those subpoenas in court. fine. But I think that the important question that I've yet to get an answer to, and I've been in briefings with some of these key committee chairmen, is what are the high crimes and misdemeanors? And so when Congressman Neguse was asking Congressman Reschenthaler in the clip that you showed at the beginning of the show, what are the high crimes and misdemeanors, and no one can actually put a fine point on what that is. A, it's because it depends which committee chairman you ask. Each of them are pointing to a different piece of this and saying that that's the high crime and misdemeanor. But B, they don't have evidence for one yet. And I think that's where this whole thing breaks down. It was surprising for me that they had full unanimous Republican support yesterday to open the inquiry. My understanding was that at least one Republican congressman was lean no, at least before he got on the House floor yesterday. But now they are all marching in lockstep towards this. That breaks down when you actually try to move towards an actual impeachment, though. And I think that's where you start running into problems if you're Republicans.
Yeah, and let's be clear. There has been no evidence yet presented at Luce. None whatsoever. This is about Donald Trump next year not wanting to be the only candidate on the ballot who's been impeached. This is trying to level the playing field. This is trying to tarnish President Biden's reputation. We could take Republicans at their word as to what they're trying to do. Now, White House officials I speak to, look, let's be clear. No White House wants to go through this an impeachment inquiry, and certainly not a full impeachment if we go down that road. It's a drain on resources, a drain on time. It's a drain on just when they could be doing other things. And we know how full the president's plate is right now, even before he really launches his reelection campaign. But what do you think? Are voters going to see this and see that there's no there, and there'll be a backlash? Could this be a political gift for this White House, or is this going to be a drag on President Biden's reelection chances?
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. There is no there. I mean, if you go back to the original, allegations that when he was vice president, Biden asked the Ukrainian government to fire its chief anti-corruption prosecutor, and somehow that was a pay-for-play. This was something the entire international community were asking for, including the International Monetary Fund, which was conditioning its aid to Ukraine on it getting rid of a corrupt anti-corruption prosecutor. So what Biden was doing was trying to, along with everyone else, the whole of the European Union, he was trying to get Ukraine to become less corrupt. This is being presented as the exact opposite. Whether that kind of detail, mud's going to stick with some people. Whether that kind of detail, will come through when it's being presented so falsely and forcefully, I guess depends on who you are and which channel you're watching. The fact that there is no there probably doesn't bother the likes of Jim Jordan. I think Representative McGovern got it right when he said when Trump asks them to jump, they say how high, and they're now jumping. They're now jumping for Trump. This is his retribution, and it's a very cynical, PR-driven attempt to besmirch Biden without any evidence.
Well, and Ed, forgive me for repeating the question that we ask all too often, but what do our European allies, what do our NATO allies, what do our enemies think of a country that has a chamber, a House chamber, that tells the Israelis to go to hell, they're not going to fund them, tells Ukraine to go to hell, they're not going to fund them, but they do have time. They do have time to move forward with a bogus impeachment inquiry that they even admit is formless.